Welcome back to another episode of Invest in Quinte West. I'm your host, Luisa Sorrentino, the Economic Development Officer for the city of Quinte West, and I am thrilled to have you with us today. Whether you're an EDO like me, an industry business leader, or an entrepreneur, get ready for a captivating journey into Invest in Quinte West, where we explore the dynamic world of economic development within the Quinte West region and beyond. In each episode, we aim to inform, inspire, and connect our community with the driving forces shaping our economic landscape. In today's episode, we're talking with Laurie Caouette, Economic and Business Advisor for the Ministry of Rural Affairs. Laurie is an economic development and community engagement professional with over a decade of experience in municipal and post-secondary roles. She is known for her collaborative leadership and ability to deliver practical solutions for rural communities. With Laurie, we will learn about the new Rural Ontario Development Program, ROD for short, and how this program can help your business or organization increase capacity and effectiveness for economic development and support economic growth and resiliency. But first, if this podcast is hitting the sweet spot for you, here is a quick friendly nudge. Please subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Your support truly makes our day and helps Invest in Quinte West find its way to more curious minds. Also, if there is someone you're just dying to hear on the show or a topic you'd love us to explore, drop us a line at economicdevelopment@quintewest.ca. All right, let's get started. Get ready to be entertained, informed, and inspired. This is Invest in Quinte West. Hey, let's roll. Well, thank you, Laurie, for joining us today. For our listeners who may not be familiar, can you give us a high-level overview of what the Rural Ontario Development Program is and its main goal? So the ROD, Rural Ontario Development Program.
Absolutely, and thank you for having me. So ROD is a provincially delivered program that provides funding towards projects that help rural Ontario to strengthen economic development, protect jobs, attract investment, build capacity, address workforce challenges, and enhance infrastructure and community assets. It aligns with the larger Enabling Opportunity, Ontario's Rural Economic Development Strategy, which aims to ensure rural Ontario communities are thriving, that they have strong local economies, are able to attract and retain businesses and people, and have great infrastructure.
Yeah, that's wonderful. We're so lucky to have a program like that. And I am also interested in understanding what triggered the shift from the RED to the ROD. So the ROD program is, I suppose, like an evolution or a better version or a modernized version of the Rural Economic Development Program. So what are the key reasons for this change, and how does the new program better serve the needs of rural Ontario?
Absolutely. Great question. So there's two key reasons that led to the change. And the first is feedback from rural stakeholders. So since January 2024, the Ministry of Rural Affairs has hosted 13 roundtables across the province. We've had a virtual Rural Economic Development Summit, and we've received more than 240 responses from a survey we released. So from that consultation, we heard that previous RED program had limitations based on scope and funding size and application windows. It also identified gaps in infrastructure, workforce, connectivity, and local capacity. The other reason that led to the change is economic uncertainties brought on by tariffs, changing global and national trade conditions, rising costs, and workforce pressures. These have made the need for more robust supports more urgent. So the ROD program is better designed with more funding. So the Ontario government has committed $20 million over 2 years, and that really doubles what the RED program offered. There's expanded eligibility, so it's no longer just open to municipalities and nonprofits and Indigenous communities. We've added a stream for small businesses in rural Ontario, too. We've also added strategies and plan substreams, so allowing communities and nonprofits and Indigenous communities to plan for economic development. There are also clearer application windows, which makes it so much easier for applicants to know when the next intake is.
Yes, that really helps to even know when the next intake is, so that sometimes we're caught a little bit like deers in headlights, because we maybe had not scheduled the time to do grant writing. So it's really important to have that ability to even plan for grant writing. So we're really grateful for that, for sure. So tell us a little bit more about funding and eligibility. So the ROD program, as you said, has a very significant investment of $20 million over the 2 years. So who is eligible to apply for the funding, and what are the different streams available for the communities versus the small businesses, which, you told us a little bit about it, but tell us more.
Absolutely. So applicants have to be in eligible rural Ontario. So meaning that rural means it has a population of less than 100,000, a population density less than 100 people per square kilometer, or a rural postal code within areas considered urban. So Kingston would be an example of that, where you have a postal code with 0 as a second character. So eligible organizations would include municipalities, not-for-profits, Indigenous communities or Indigenous nonprofit organizations, local service boards, or small businesses with 1 to 20 employees that meet the eligibility criteria. There are 2 main streams of the ROD program, community development and business development. So under community development, there are multiple substreams. So the first would be economic diversification, competitiveness, and capacity building. So under this, that includes strategies and plans for communities that want to develop a strategy or plan. And the cost share is up to 50% to a maximum of $50,000.
Wow.
Economic diversification and competitiveness. So this is implementing an existing strategy. And the cost share with that is up to 50%, up to $150,000. And then there's capacity building events. So these are events that are building community or organization capacity for economic development. And the cost share is up to 35%, up to a maximum of $10,000. So under workforce development, attraction, and retention, and these are projects or initiatives that attract, retain, train workers, immigrants, youth. The maximum cost share for projects like that is up to 50% and up to $150,000.
Great.
And then we've got community infrastructure enhancements. Now, these are small or large projects that update or transform community assets for economic importance. So the cost share is 35%. A small project can receive up to $25,000, where large projects is up to $250,000. And our new business development stream, and this is for small rural brick and mortar businesses who have 1 to 20 employees. So they can have their project cost share of up to 35%, and then they can apply for up to $10,000.
Wow.
So the next intake for the ROD program is between January 19th and February 26th, 2026. So lots of time to start giving some thought to your application and getting it prepared.
That's wonderful, because I remember often grant writing before Christmas, and it was always a bit of a rush trying to get all that prepared and then prepare for the holidays, whereas this just after Christmas. You can have, it's more than a month, basically, to prepare and submit your application.
Absolutely.
So that's really great. So let's talk a little bit more and dive into the types of projects. So could you give us perhaps some specific examples of projects that the ROD program is designed to support? So what kind of initiatives for example, in workforce development or infrastructure or business growth are a good fit for this funding?
Okay, great question. So when you look at workforce development, attraction, and retention, we would expect to see programs or projects like collaborative labor attraction campaigns, strategies or policy adjustments for workforce retention. We could also expect to see like training or upskilling programs, career fairs, events, or development of networks between schools, employers, or service providers. Under infrastructure and community asset enhancements, we might see things like rehabilitation of heritage, tourism, or cultural assets like historic buildings or existing trails that are known to be economic draws. We could also see redevelopment of vacant or underutilized buildings to become things like co-working spaces and innovation hubs and youth centers and agri-food hubs. There's also streetscaping and beautification and public art and wayfinding signage, landscape improvement, public spaces, Wi-Fi equipment for public use, all the things that make our communities attractive. Under economic diversification, competitiveness, and community building, so these might be projects like developing or refreshing economic development strategies, feasibility or business plans, or housing plans for attracting and retaining workers. Could be regional marketing and outreach campaigns to attract investment, tourism, and business, or technology adoption or innovation, such as cybersecurity, digital tools, or platforms for businesses. So under the business development stream, we expect to see projects like marketing plans or new marketing collateral, improvements for accessibility or succession planning, increasing digital presence, e-commerce expansion, or the adoption of new cybersecurity tools.
Wow, thank you so much for that, because that really helps. At times, people may have questions and they don't even feel that they may be eligible for some projects. Meanwhile, there are so many projects that are eligible, and you guys are very approachable too. Like, you make it very easy for us to connect in case we have questions and whatnot. So that's certainly something that is really helpful for organizations and people that have never perhaps applied before.
Absolutely. And when in doubt, I would always say, reach out to your regional advisor just to run your project by them.
Sounds good. And then before we close up, we'll make sure we share that with them, with our listeners, so they do know where to go on our website and who to reach out to. So for the potential applicant, let's talk about the application process a little bit. So what are the most crucial steps in the application process, and what are some common pitfalls or key pieces of advice that you would offer to someone preparing for application so that they have more chances to be successful with their application?
Oh, I love this question. So crucial steps, I would say the most important is checking eligibility. So confirm you are in an eligible rural area. And you can do that by viewing the interactive map at our website. So www.ontario.ca/ROD program. Make sure also that your organization type is eligible. Read the guidelines carefully. This is a big one. Understand what the program goals are, the expected outcomes, the cost share percentage, the funding caps, or what expenses are eligible. Select the right stream and the project type. The stream determines the maximum allowable funding, the matching contribution percent, required outcomes. Choose the one that best fits your project. Gather supporting documents. So quotes and estimates if cost items are over $10,000, feasibility studies and strategic plans supporting why the project's needed, and letters confirming partner contributions or in-kind support. Make sure that you complete the application before the deadline. So intake windows are very clearly defined on the website. Missing the deadline means you might have to wait to the next round. And finally, use the supports that are offered. We offer online webinars. We do virtual coaching sessions. You can also speak with your regional advisor. These all help shape a really strong application. In terms of mistakes, I would say some of the more common pitfalls. So number one would be underestimating matching contributions and in-kind work. So really clearly define what the partner roles are, the in-kind support you're getting, and get letters to document them. Number two is over budgeting or including ineligible expenses. So eligible expenses are really clearly defined in the ROD program guideline documents, so really read them carefully as you're doing your application. Number three is not demonstrating economic development outcomes or how your project contributes to workforce, investment, jobs. So the evaluation, when your project is getting evaluated, they're going to be looking for alignment with program outcomes. So make sure that you are clearly defining what those alignments are. Number 4 is missing or weak supporting documentation. When we're doing your evaluation for your application, we want to see those quotes, the plans, the evidence of the need. And number 5 is choosing a stream that doesn't match a project scale. An example of that is applying for a large infrastructure project via a small project stream or asking for more funding that's permitted.
Mm-hmm. Yes, of course. Thank you so much for giving us all that detail, because it can be hard at times even to receive some of the quotes or to receive some of the letters on time. But having some time to prepare for the next intake is also a wonderful opportunity for everyone to get ready, talk to their partners, make sure that everyone is on the same page so that that letter can be prepared ahead of time.
Absolutely.
And not wait until the last day of submission to ask for that letter of support, or that letter that talks about how do we partner, what is our in-kind support, and so forth. So let's talk a little bit about measuring success. So how does the government measure the success and impact of the ROD program? And, what are the metrics that are used to determine if the funding is effectively supporting the rural communities?
Okay, so under the ROD guidelines, so projects are assessed based on how they align with the program outcomes. So the priorities would be, helping rural communities attract, retain, and expand businesses, jobs, of course, strengthening regional partnerships, addressing workforce challenges, transforming community assets. So some of the common performance metrics that applicants should probably focus on would be things like number of jobs created or retained in rural areas, the number of businesses expanded or business investment attracted, increases in capacity, so the number of strategies or plans developed, improvement in organizations' ability to deliver economic development, infrastructure improvements completed, so value, the number, the condition, workforce outcomes, so the number of workers trained or retained, effect on attraction of new workers or youth, and then the ROI on investment, so matching funds leveraged or regional spread. Under the larger ministry strategy, there are target goals by 2035. So we're looking at things like, growing the rural population, increasing the rural business numbers, increasing rural GDP, improving connectivity, improving housing. These are longer term metrics that ROD is intended to feed into.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that is great to know that. There are these longer term metrics, and that, it feeds into the bigger picture. So thank you. That's really helpful to learn that for sure. And in terms of, continuing to talk about ROD's role in the broader strategy, so how does it fit into Ontario Enabling Opportunity and Ontario's Rural Economic Development Strategy?
Okay, so the Enabling Opportunity Strategy is the overall roadmap for rural economic development in Ontario. So it has 3 pillars: safe and strong rural communities, business development and attraction, and growing the rural workforce. So ROD is one of the key initiatives under that strategy. It's meant to operationalize many of the strategy's commitments, especially supporting business development and attraction, workforce growth, infrastructure, and local capacity. It responds to what we heard in stakeholder consultations about what rural communities need, and things like planning supports, capacity building, infrastructure, and workforce.
Yes. And looking ahead at the future, so we heard from you that the ROD program is a 2-year program. So it requires a 2-year commitment. Or what is the long-term vision for the rural development in Ontario? And what role do you see this program playing in the future?
Great question. So the long-term vision of the Enabling Opportunity Strategy is for rural Ontario to have thriving communities, places where people want to live and work and stay, where businesses grow and where investment is attracted, where workforce gaps are addressed, and where infrastructure, connectivity, housing, amenities are all improved. ROD plays a really critical role in providing that small to medium scale funding that enables communities and businesses to build capacity, to pilot or implement projects that otherwise would be too small or too risky to attract larger funding. Its projects build momentum, and that's showing what works. ROD also helps to build that foundation by supporting better planning, strategies, infrastructure, and workforce development that can then be leveraged to attract further investment. And also because there's that 2-year commitment for the ROD program, its success and learnings could involve evolution of the program. So things like scaling up and refining streams, possibly institutionalizing successful project types, or adjusting funding caps.
Yes. And I think that in closing, so what is one key takeaway that you would like our listeners, whether they're a municipality or they work for a not-for-profit or they're a small business owner, to remember about the ROD program?
I would say most important is align your project closely with the program outcomes. Pick the stream that fits your activities. Clearly demonstrate that economic impact and use the supports offered. They're there to help you, like the coaching and like the program webinars. And if you can, prepare your application well before the deadline. In short, be strategic, be clear, and be precise. The projects that make the strongest case, they're going to be the ones that get funded.
Yes, thank you. And one thing that I think it's important for our listeners too is to really reflect and think on the things that they're already doing with partners within the community. How can this already, sometimes already successful projects can be implemented, can be expanded, can use some of the resources that are available in Ontario to, again, scale up, because that could be, the one step sometimes that some communities need, like a little bit of a push to actually scale up and be recognized for the things that they already have. Sometimes the small communities, I find especially in rural areas, they're very modest in terms of they're very humble. So it is important for us to celebrate those smaller communities and make sure that they know how amazing they are and show the heart of the community, show those places, help with placemaking, and for them also to have that pride of place as well. Programs like this sometimes can also bring people together and more partners to collaborate on things that they're already doing.
And that's exactly what we hope to see with this program, is that to really see that partnership happening, to see that collaboration happening. And I think, what you said was very well said. Rural Ontario and the communities in rural Ontario are the heart of the province, and we want to make sure that they're thriving.
Well, thank you so much. This was lovely. I thoroughly enjoyed learning more about the Rural Ontario program with you. And I really hope that our listeners have learned and have been inspired, and they can get, all those partnerships going so that they don't feel they are rushed when the time comes for the next intake, and they can prepare ahead of time. One thing that I wanted to ask you is if you could give us the website where they can find more information for the ROD.
Absolutely. So again, it's www.ontario.ca/ROD program. And there you can find information about the different streams. You can find guidelines. You can find applications to download. And you can book coaching sessions with rural advisors. So we're there to help, and we want to help you put in the best application possible.
Yes, that's wonderful. I've also been to some of those webinars that you guys have sometimes. So that's also a wonderful resource for people to participate, to attend, to engage. And at the end of every webinar, you also have a question and answer time so people can definitely access all those resources that are available. So thank you so much, Laurie, for joining us today. And this concludes our episode today. I hope you enjoyed it and found it valuable. And that wraps up the episode of Invest in Quinte West. Today, we gained a clearer understanding of the ROD program and the steps involved with applying. We hope you enjoyed the conversation as much as we did. If you have any thoughts, questions, or just want to say hello, we would love to hear from you. Remember, you can always catch up on previous episodes and stay connected with us on social media. Find us on social media with our handle @QuinteWest on Facebook, X, and YouTube, and City of Quinte West on Instagram and LinkedIn. Join the Invest in Quinte West community and get updates on new episodes. A big thank you to our guest, Laurie Caouette, for sharing her knowledge, experience, and wisdom with us. And of course, thank you, dear listener, for tuning in. Your support means everything to us. Before we say goodbye, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review on your podcast platform. Your feedback helps us improve and brings more amazing content to your ears. A quick reminder that new episodes go out monthly, ensuring concise yet comprehensive discussions. Stay curious, stay inspired, and until next time, this is Luisa Sorrentino signing off from Invest in Quinte West. Take care. Arrivederci.